we just want to understand why industry is so against this list of items that the Ministry of Finance produced in this excise duty law. So perhaps I'll start with you as the Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Why is this so problematic? Is it the scope of the items that have been put on the list? And do you appreciate the fact that either way government needs to make money, and so they are calling for all hands to be on board?
Yes, we do appreciate the fact that government needs money, because government will have to construct their roads, build their schools and other things. But in trying to get money, what our concerns are. This particular tax should not be the fight of only businesses. It should be the fight for a consumer, for anybody who is looking for employment, and also for businesses. The moment we start implementing these taxes, everybody should expect to pay more in terms of prices. If you are looking for a job, you should expect to wait for much longer, because you have said that these taxes are going to kill businesses. Nobody set up a business just because they want to employ. The first reason why they set up a business is because they want profit. So that in the course of getting the profit, they will employ you to work with. So if the businesses are not making profit, they will lay off people. Those who are completing schools from the universities and all those people, they are already, the unemployment rate is very high. And in Ghana, government just employ about 6% of the total labor force. The 94% is employed by the private sector. So anything that affects the profitability of businesses, we should all be concerned. These particular taxes that are coming in, beyond this is the Growth and Sustainability Levy, which probably you go there. With this one, it means that almost every business is going to pay more in terms of excise duty. You saw the list over there. Bottled water with excise duty of 17.5 is now moving to 20% excise duty. Fruit juice, which is 0, is now moving to 20%. So if you are producing fruit juice in Ghana, based on the local content, you are likely to pay 20% more. All these things fit into the cost of production. And if businesses are not able to absorb it, they will pass on this cost to consumers. That now businesses are already suffering. If you look at the business environment, the cost of production keeps going up day in, day out. At the beginning of the year, government introduced a new VAT of 2.5, which increased the VAT to 15%. Cumulatively, if you add the NHI and all those things, our VAT is almost 20%. That is 22%, that's 11.9%, the highest in the whole world. Within this component of VAT, there are about 6% that you cannot claim. It becomes direct cost to producers. So it increases your cost of production. Just recently, the central bank upped its monetary policy rate from to 29.5. Anytime the MPC rate goes up, banks also react positively and they will increase their lending rate. At the moment, if you want to borrow, you borrow around 40% to 45% just for your loan. Other cost of production aside, just for your loan. So in 2 years, you are likely to pay the same amount that you borrowed from the bank. Recently, electricity tariffs went up by almost 29%. Just from last year, late last year to early part of this year, tariffs for electricity had gone up by almost 50%. Water has also gone up. Inflation is 52.8%. So when you put all these things together, businesses are suffering. The least any government can do is to introduce these two taxes that will worsen the already bad situation of businesses. So we are very much concerned that businesses are going to collapse. We are not competitive. Businesses in Ghana are not competitive because our cost of production is very high. What we should do now is to help businesses, the productive sector, to rather grow, expand, make more profit, employ more people, and then you tax them, the corporate tax. If you take the Growth and Sustainability Levy, it's saying that for about 15 set of sectors, you are supposed to pay 5% of your gross profit. Gross profit. Which means that you cannot pass on this cost to anybody. You have to absorb it as part of your cost of production. Already, if you add all these things and then the 5% comes in, it becomes a challenge. Now, the growth and sustainability levy, it was supposed to be for a short period of time. It started in the form of national reconstruction levy during President Kufuor's time. Usually when we have a challenge, they will do that for, let's say, 2, 3, 4 years on businesses that are making excessive profit, so the government will get some to solve some of the challenges. After Kufuor's time, we changed the name when NDC came to National Fiscal Stabilization Levy. A levy that's supposed to be for a short period, we have found a way to make it a permanent tax on businesses. It lasted up to now, and now they have changed the name, rebranded it, given it a new code, and they are calling it the Growth and Sustainability Levy, which means that you are going to pay 5% of your gross profit. Within that, mining companies are supposed to pay 1% of their gross production. The difference between profit and production. This is even worse. When you start producing, your revenue that you get, you pay 1% out of it. The rest are paying 2.5%. Previously, it was for certain few sectors. Now, it's affecting almost every business in Ghana. So if you put all these things together, we don't have to sit down for businesses to collapse. We are doing this because we want IMF money. And I don't think that IMF will be happy to see the productive sector, the engine of growth, collapse because we want $3 billion.
Let me bring Mr. Paddy into the conversation. You've heard your colleague from the industry side talking about the challenges to, cost of production being an issue, high tariffs, likely impact on employment and profits. Is it pretty much the same for Gov't?
Yeah, exactly. So thank you. And let me say good morning to your viewers and your listeners. He said it all. But let me start from this. Our disappointment as Gov't is with Parliament for passing this bill. They were not sensitive to Ghanaians. They were not sensitive to the plight of business community, because it's about 90% of your stakeholders are saying we are not prepared for this. And he went ahead and passed it. That's our...
Prepared for any taxes that have been imposed.
The timing, you see, this is where we're even looking for where government will come with a policy to make sure that industry are giving some rebate, even some tax cut. So
I've heard arguments, for example, and I don't mean to interrupt, but because you mentioned rebates, that at the time when COVID hit, businesses received some support from government, and there are some SMEs that received monies to help them prop up their business. And so is it now time, perhaps, to consider this one way of also making a return and putting something back into the national kitty to help all of us out of?
At this point in time, where your interest rate is about 29.5%, when you go to the bank to go and lend at a rate of 40%, which business will survive under this dispensation? At this point, when you go to the port, cumulatively, the duty rate is about 51%. So just imagine you import a goods worth about $10,000. You are paying about $5,100 as a duty. Which business will survive under this? Government need revenue to develop. Government need revenue to grow. But where are you going to get your revenue from? From the business community. So if we don't grow, how do you get your revenue? So help businesses to grow. That's what I'm saying. I came about tax cut, tax rebate. So when business grow, your revenue grow. But if you've milked businesses so much so that now businesses are bleeding. I always use this example like a cow. When you milk the cow so much, then when the milk is finished, it begins to bleed. When it bleeds, what happens? It becomes pale, and then he dies off. So at the point where we just came out from COVID era, Ukraine war that we complaining about, when business are suffering, this is not a time that you have to bring a new taxes. This is a time, what can we do to help business to grow, so that when they grow? I can assure you, I came not quite long from abroad, and then businesses in abroad, Ghanaians who want to bring goods down here, do you know what happens? Just a Toyota Corolla, that's about 2005 Toyota Corolla, duty on it is about 51,000 Ghana cedis. And I went to one shipper, he has over 2,000 Ghanaians who are not ready to bring it. And he's asked them that if you come and take the car and go and re-auction them, because his place is choked. People are not ready. We went to, Gapua wrote us a letter that there's a serious decline in importation. Serious decline. And government got most of its revenue from the port. And we have lost business to our neighboring countries, to Togo, Benin, Ivory Coast, they are booming because our cost of doing business in Ghana, especially with our port, is extremely high. Extremely high. 51% who will survive under this dispensation, paying about 51%. So what we are saying is that government should be sensitive to the plight of Ghanaians and the business community. What can we do? And then and secondly, there was no stakeholder consultation. Seriously, because if your stakeholder, people that you are working with, you are going to impose these taxes on them, what can we do? If we could have even come up with other alternatives to help government to raise this needed revenue.
I'll talk to you about the alternatives that you would have, proffered if you had been consulted. Can we go to the issue of importation a little bit? Government has communicated clearly that it would rather the Ghanaian economy looked inward for the solutions to its problems. Government wants to, as much as possible, as much as practicable, discourage the import-driven lifestyles that we live. And so they are asking that for some of these things that we import, you mentioned cars, now there are assembly plants here. Could we buy those cars from here that are being assembled? That way we don't have to pay these import duties that you mentioned. Is that the focus? And have you considered that argument as well? And I wonder how you would react to that. Can we look inward and not depend solely on importation?
This rather would discourage production and the manufacturing sector. This bill that they are bringing. Because just imagine, raw material all over the world are the same prices. But cost of production in Ghana compared to our neighboring countries, our industry are not competitive. You can go and buy a cable from Turkey with the same raw material component, and then you come and pay the needed duties here, and it's still cheaper. You see, so our manufacturing sector are not competitive. They go and borrow at the rate of 35%, 40%. His competitor in Turkey or in somewhere is borrowing at the rate of 3%. He's not competitive. So you are rather killing manufacturing, and those who are even in manufacturing are even tending to go into trading because they are suffering. I have a friend who started producing nails, the one they use for roofing. He employed over 100 Ghanaians. He's folded up. He said it's even cheaper importing from China than even manufacturing it here. So this is a situation for. So if you are bringing these taxes again, he has folded up and then he started importing. I have a friend who even toilet tissue paper. He has folded up just at in Salome. He's folded up. He said cost of production is extreme. Electricity is killing him. He said he can't pay, he can't afford. He's folded up those companies. So if you are bringing all these taxes, all that you are doing, you are going to kill industry. Industry is going to suffocate. We the importers, we wish the goods are here. We'll do the distribution. What's the point of traveling to US, stay in the air for about 9-10 hours, struggling, change dollars? If my brother can manufacture here and I can easily get it at a cheaper cost. But trying to play, and bear in mind that they are not able, it's demand and supply factor. They are not able to do all the supply. We have to place some complementary role and supplement what they do. And by so doing, bringing the shortfalls, when we go out there, it's like they produce 10 and Ghanaians are looking for 20. It's like with 10. So we go out there to go and source for the 10. And we find out that it's even far cheaper than that which they produce here. So we are killing them. So what is Ghana government going to do so that our manufacturers can be competitive to the other neighboring country? If even it's 10 cedis here, and I can get it 8 cedis in somewhere Dubai, I prefer to buy it. What is the point of me considering your airfare, and what's the point of me going to Dubai to go and buy it? But you get it 10 cedis here, you go to Dubai, it's about 4 cedis because cost of production there is cheaper. So that's why we're saying at this point where government is bringing these new taxes, is going to make cost of doing business extremely high. It's not about importation. Every country, even no country in the world is self-sufficient. America's superpower is not self-sufficient. It even depends on China. So if you say we are import-driven, do we have the capacity to build those things that we're looking for?
Do you appreciate the fact that some of these companies who are into mining, for example, Mr. Abuaji, you mentioned, they make profits in the millions of dollars, and can we then as a layperson assume that 1% of that would not make much of a dent? And so why are you, for example, putting the mining company at the same level as any other company? Most of these profits are repatriated. Yeah. So if the government wants some of the money to come in, is that really an unfair ask?
No. Before Mr. Abuaji come, let me go. We made a proposal to government once upon a time. You see, that's why we say we don't only complain, we also come with proposals. That, like you mentioned, all those expatriates that are in the system, let's come out with a policy. That's what we call the retention policy on your profit. So when you made a profit, let's retain some, so we invest and expand their businesses. So if you come out, our government come out with us retention policy, you keep some of the money here. So they don't repatriate all the money into their countries. But we spoke and spoke. They didn't hit to that. So that's some of the
We know
issue.
for a fact at this table that, for example, the government has made sure that there's a local participation aspect of the mining sector, which means that certain categories of jobs are reserved solely for Ghanaians. It's one of the ways that they are ensuring that some of these monies, which also translates in the billions of dollars, are kept here. So you wanted to add something to, you make a point before Mr. Paddy came in.
Yes, you know, these mining companies, they also pay corporate tax. It's not only the 1% that they are paying. They pay corporate tax, they pay royalties and all those things. If you want the mining companies to stay, if you want us to get more people to invest in the mining, look out for policies that will enhance the activities. It's important that they make more profit, then you get the 25 or 30% of corporate tax than to just tax them 1% at the point of production. You may not get anything. Secondly, you also indicated that government gave us some freebies during the COVID-19. Those monies were not for free. Private sector or anybody who took money from government is supposed to pay back. Secondly, Ghana is the only country that has a levy called COVID-19 levy. Go and buy anything since COVID started. That levy has been there up to now. Ghana is the only country. So that money was not for free. We are paying for it. So it's not like government is giving us money for free, and that is out. You also made mention of industrialization. Sometimes I wonder whether we are serious about changing the structure of our economy. We came out with one district, one factory to set up factories in all the districts that we have. Brilliant idea. Those factories will not survive. They will not be profitable if we have the kind of taxes that we have. If we have the high cost of doing business that we have. If you are not careful, we will end up importing every day if we continue to pile up taxes on the productive sector. How can a factory borrow at 45%, pay the high utility tariffs? The city is depreciating rapidly. So if the person is importing, from last year, the city was 6.5 to $1. Now it's coming down a bit. It's almost 12. You need twice the same amount of money to import. And then when you get to the port, the duty on raw material is about 50%. And then you think the factory will be profitable. Who will buy the product? We have the Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat here. And we expect that Ghanaians, the business community, the productive sector, will take up this responsibility of producing to enter the African market. One, we are not competitive. Go there and go and see the number of Ghanaians working there. That's not what we need. Only few Ghanaians are working there. We can only benefit from after when we produce high quality products at an affordable and competitive prices. Go to Morocco, Egypt, and all those things. They have high quality and affordable. The moment we open our market, they are bringing their product in, and we are going to further kill or collapse our industries. So what we should do is to use both our monetary policies and our fiscal policies to incentivize the private sector. We don't use taxes to kill business. We don't do that. Incentivize them, make them competitive. And then at the end, you get a higher corporate tax.
When you say incentivize, in what ways exactly would you suggest? Because I've heard both of you allude to that we were not consulted, and if we had, Mr. Paddy said we would have, offered you some ways that you could raise this. As it stands, pensioners say don't touch our money, workers say don't touch our money. Every group of individuals or organizations that have been roped into revenue mobilization moves by the government has faced some resistance. So where should we be looking for these monies that we need to prop up our ailing economy?
So that is why we said the first thing they should have done was to consult us. There are better alternative ways of generating revenue.
Let's hear some of
that will benefit both government and the businesses. One, Ghana, about 30 million businesses and individuals are supposed to pay taxes. Now less than 6 million people are paying taxes. The rest are not paying taxes. So when we say expand the tax net, what we are saying is that let each and every business and individual pay the little that they can and together we can generate more revenue instead of piling up these taxes day in, day out on the few people that are paying. Go to your take your paying slip and look at the proportion of your salary that goes into a tax. A lot of people are doing businesses, a lot of people are walking around, they are not paying anything. Let's spread it. Everybody will pay small. In fact, research has shown that if you continuously pile up taxes like what we are doing, you won't get the revenue that you want, because tax avoidance is not criminal. People will always find a way around it, and we've seen it during the ELB period. When the tax rate was 1.5, you complained. They didn't listen to us. Now everybody found an alternative way to send their money. You prefer taking a car to go and give money to somebody than to pay it through a levy. So the revenue that they were expecting, they didn't get. They came back and they have reduced it. We even asked for less than 1%. They didn't listen to us. That is fine. If you take the tax exemption bill, you realize that a lot of revenue are being lost through tax exemptions. Go and check the companies that are benefiting from tax exemption and tell me whether you see any SME there, any local business there. It's for foreign businesses. We are not saying foreign businesses are not good, but there is an opportunity for us to generate tax revenue from there. Go to the free zones. There's also an opportunity, and also for tax to get a higher revenue from tax. It's not about increasing tax rate or introducing taxes. It's about effective collection of taxes, efficiency of collection of taxes. If you are efficiently collecting our taxes, if everybody is paying the small thing that they have to pay, the 4 billion that we are looking for from these various taxes, we will get that and even more without increasing more taxes. Recently, when GRA became more active in tax collection and enforcing their tax laws, look at the revenue that they have been able to generate. In fact, businesses have been paying taxes for the past 4 or 5 years. All the targets that GRA has set for itself, they have exceeded it. All the targets.
Digitalization has played a key part in that.
Exactly.
And we've seen how the drive to get everybody, for example, to get a TIN number, to use your TIN number as your social security number, as your social security number to be your health insurance number, to be your driver's license, and to be all the link in these different cards. The idea is to ensure that once everybody's information is captured into one database or is consolidated into that one platform, then these tax suggestions that you are making will be that much more possible, because people are working, artisans are working, and they are collecting the money straight, cash in hand and into their pocket. But if these systems work, then they will be able to, account for some of these things, these monies that they receive. That's the idea.
That's exactly what we are saying. So instead of putting all your effort in piling up taxes on businesses, why don't we digitalize like you are saying?
But we are not there yet. We haven't crossed the T's and dotted all the I's.
So I believe we are there.
You think?
We are there. We are there. Is somebody complaining about road tolls? Are we not comfortable paying? Is there no revenue? So one policy revenue to that effect. You see, and then these taxes that is coming, the same 30% people who are in the net are going to suffer the same consequences. So what about the 70% who are outside the net? You see, so at every point in time, instead of imposing or piling up on this same 30%, what effort can we do to bring the 70% on board? So like I always say, the little mathematics I did is if more, less divide. So that if we are able to get the 70 that are outside the net, if you are even able to get 30 in addition to this 30, even 60%, we will get the needed revenue more than imposing the same, because when the tax rate is high, compliance is very low. That's a simplicity. Every businessman is there to make profit.
So your agitation really is in the figures and the percentages that's been attached, not on the items that are on the list?
The item on the list is also important, because water. Yesterday I bought one of this water.
Have you seen this though?
Yes.
This is water.
And it's water?
Yes.
Yes. And how much did you buy it?
We fetched it straight from the Pra River. This is River Pra. We fetched it straight from the River Pra.
Exactly so.
You see, because of this, the cost of making sure we get from here to here is skyrocketing. So much so that I've heard people say that if we don't take care, we'll be importing water.
Yes.
Because we've done this to our water bodies. Because of our actions and inactions. And industry has a huge role to play, because mining companies and the concessions that they run, and the fact that the reclamation efforts may not be as speedy as we would want them to be, and people encroaching into mine spaces to mine illegally and doing this to the environment, it means that government needs more money to make sure that our water is treated into a safe state that we can all drink. It requires more money.
No, but that money is what the Ghana Water Company is taking. It's not the taxes.
But Ghana Water is struggling.
Yes, that's why
they've always said that if the government could give them some more support, they would be able to provide a lot more communities with potable water. They can reach a lot more people, improve their services a bit more. Where will government find money to support Ghana Water?
The Ghana Water Company is a limited liability company. It's like a business. So that is why they have increased the tariffs. The issue of Galamsey, the question is now who caused them. Don't let us bring Galamsey discussion into this, just to derail all the conversation, the good conversation that we are having.
I'm asking because when you say water and you say why do we put more taxes on water,
so what they are putting
because
on,
attempts to clean,
what they are putting on is not to clean the water.
So what is it for?
You see, they have tied this to IMF conditionalities. They have tied all these things to IMF conditionalities. It's our actions and inactions that have taken us to the IMF. We wouldn't have required all these taxes that we are talking about. When the government was borrowing excessively, we had cause to complain that the way you are going, it will get to a point where your debt will not be sustainable.
I've heard the president say on platforms that they've been efficient, they've been prudent in managing the economy, and none of the monies have been inappropriately applied, and that he can tell the Ghanaian people for a fact that they've been responsible with the finance.
And do we see the reflection on the people? You see, so when you bring all this in, then we are going to talk about institutional failures. Somebody is being paid to take care of the water bodies. EPA is there. So what has happened? What is the level of compliance when the EPA goes to check on this? So we have institutional failures. So don't let that institutional failures affect our production.
Okay, so water, you don't get why water should get the extra tax.
Exactly.
What about the other items on the list? I've heard arguments, healthy lifestyle arguments.
The drink our children take to school, those calipo and all those things, they are going to be taxed.
Buy oranges, buy them apples. That's a suggestion, and I've heard a member of parliament say, listen, these drinks are sugary and they are not even healthy. So can we buy bananas for the children? Can we make these things at home so that instead of buying, like you said, the brands that you mentioned, which, you know, marketing would be coming for you later for, make sure that you give them an awake bottle of water instead of...
Those products are seasonal products. Like banana, it has a season. Orange has a season.
When it's out of season, go with the next fruit that's in season. So in Ghana, throughout the year, there's a fruit that's in season somewhere. So when the season passes, then move on to the next fruit.
You don't have a kid who doesn't like banana.
There are others in the mix. I mean, I've had the health argument, and I want your
health argument, right? The product that they have put in these taxes on, they are called inelastic products. So government will just make the revenue. It's not going to reduce the consumption of this product. One, the taxes that the government is taking because of health reasons, is he using it to pay for the national health insurance? So that when people drink all those things, they get sick. They go to the hospital and the facility has all the things that they have to get.
Government provides money for the national health insurance
and check those from so many years. Yes, they have not been paid.
That's why they need
this tax, right, will not reduce consumption. Those who smoke, right, they will forever be smoking unless God intervenes. The tax will not let them stop. Those that have introduced taxes on this product, they use it as a way of making money. These taxes are coming in because of the IMF. Didn't you know that people are consuming sugar? Since when did we get to know that people are smoking? From ages. If IMF had not come in, would these taxes have been introduced to us? So let's look at the focus, the main focus of taxing or imposing these taxes is for government to get money and to meet certain conditionalities. IMF did not ask us to introduce new taxes. They asked us two things: check your expenditure, check your revenue. If your revenue is not coming in, what can you do with your expenditure? Because you have control over expenditure. Is the government tightening its belt? Now, as in businesses, people have invested millions of dollars and cedis into their businesses. We are using taxes to kill them. We have given you a list of other sources that government can get revenue, not necessarily introducing or increasing the tax rate. In fact, before the 2023 budget, we made it clear to government that we are suffering, businesses are suffering. So the only thing they can do for us as businesses is not to introduce new taxes or increase existing taxes. They didn't listen to us. When this growth and sustainability levy appeared in the budget, and all this appeared in the budget, it was just a vague statement. So when you are coming to introduce it, the best way is to consult the businesses. You introduce a tax without consulting those who are going to pay the tax, getting their input. Probably you could have agreed on a rate that will give some relief to businesses, and government will also get its revenue. Why is the growth and sustainability levy 5%? Why have you?
What rate would you have been?
That's what I'm saying, that we should have consulted us.
So you are not saying that the taxes are not needed. You are saying that they are.
We
they
know
be
that
reduced?
Government needs money. We know.
Because
already
one of the areas, betting, for example,
yes,
it's grown exponentially in the past few years. And so if government is introducing this, what's it called, 10% withholding tax at the point of payout, is that
no, we have not complained. You see, the incidence of tax, right, differs from whoever is going to pay. Recently, I think I read about these Uber people. There's something also coming in, and they have also started complaining. I have not complained about those levies.
You're talking about how it affects you,
yes,
and your people.
So
the people
incidence of taxation is on us. If you realize, we've been talking about two key taxes: the excise duty and then the growth and sustainability levy. That's what we've been talking about. That's what we are saying. That if you don't, they are counterproductive. They are inimical the development of businesses. And why is it that in other countries a business person can just walk to their form of a GI and say, I'm filing my tax? Why? It's all about compliance level. It's all about engagement. If you are bringing a tax and say, oh, this is a tax I'm bringing, let's meet and discuss. I know businesses are also suffering. At what level should you even put the rate so that you will benefit government, get the revenue? We are in the democratic world and you are imposing taxes. Yeah. Businesses always find a way out to avoid these taxes, and government.
Let's hear Mr. Paddy on
this. What he said,
and then perhaps after that we'll take some messages and then
just to ask to what he said. You know, once upon a time, the informal sector, they were not put into the tax net, so it was difficult to get revenue from them. Then the late Banredu called Gov't, had a meeting with the whiteboard, and did some computation, and so in between the input and output tax, you people are saying you don't know how to do the input and output. So in between the input and output, there's some 5% in there. So let me make it a flat rate for you people. As for flat rate, if you sell 100 cedis a day, 5% of 100 cedis, you know how to pay. So we argued with him, and at the end of it all, we came to about 3%. When we even brought this on board, our people were not happy, but we said we also have to pay a little revenue to government. And government raking a lot of revenue from that. So these are some of the things, inputs that we make. Like he said, if you had come to us, there are so many ways we can also make an input into it. And now, government has moved the 3% to even 4%. And it's still enjoying a lot of revenue. Traders are not complaining. But we are saying, even with that, the informal sector, there are still some people in there who are not paying the 3 and the 4%. So what can we do to bring them on board? These are some of the things we can be looking for. And if we are able to bring those people, the 4 billion, we don't even need to go to IMF. Gov't can even help government to get the
Gentlemen, it looks like it's an unending debate, but if government was listening to you right now, the bills have gone through Parliament. The only thing left now is for the president to, put that green ink on there. If you could say anything at this stage, what would it be?
Well, I think last 2 days, for the first time in the history of Ghana, all relevant business associations met to issue a common statement that we are not happy about these taxes. We have now putting together a petition that we are sending it to the president that he should not assent to this bill until we meet him and also give suggestions and recommendations on how government can generate revenue without killing businesses. Secondly, for me, anything that ensures there's a conducive business environment, we are all for it. We don't play politics with businesses. When the MPP was coming, they clearly indicated that they are moving from taxation to production. We all supported because taxes at that time were so many. So they removed what we call nuisance taxes, about 17. Now they have come in various forms and in a worse situation, killing us. Government should listen to us. We are here to support government so that government will get necessary revenue. Businesses will expand and employ those who are looking for job to do, so that those who have invested their monies and their effort in their businesses will also get value in the form of profit and dividend. That is what we are asking. We shouldn't use IMF money. 3 billion, you are killing your businesses. The problem we are creating, we will need more than 3 billion to solve that problem in the not too distant future.
Mr. Paddy.
Yeah, I'll say it again. Our disappointment is with Parliament for passing this bill.
So it's like what's the disappointment? Help me understand the disappointment.
Parliament is not working for the people, they're working for themselves. Because if, like you said, all stakeholders were complaining, AGI complained, Chamber of Mines complained, Chamber of Commerce complained, Gov't complained. These are the stakeholders in the trading sector, in the business community. And you are saying this is not friendly to our businesses.
But
and
even in Parliament, the blame is shifting. One side says the other is to blame, the other side says the other side is to blame.
But we don't.
Is it the whole body of Parliament?
We are talking about the whole body of Parliament. We are not interested in
you didn't say
did you,
majority
you petitioned.
You said Parliament has passed it. Did they say majority has passed it?
You sent a petition to Parliament.
Yes.
And that petition did not receive an answer.
We sent to Speaker, Select Committee on Trade, we sent to Select Committee on Finance, and we sent to Finance. We sent the letters by ourselves, and they didn't heed to our request and response. They didn't even meet it. They didn't even call us after receiving all this petition. They didn't respond. So that's why we're saying Parliament is working for them. They are not working for Ghanaians. Because if you are there for your stakeholders, and your stakeholders are saying that this bill that you are bringing is not business friendly, and you still went ahead to pass it, we are disappointed. And then I think we'll have a next line of action, and then we'll see what to do. Because we sent you there to work on our behalf.
Because what would be the next line of action? Are you still open to having further conversations? And
that's why we are writing to, we are petitioning the president himself, the first man of the land.
To do what? To not accept?
To hold on to it, to halt it. And then we'll also propose an alternative way to get that needed revenue to support government business. So otherwise, like I said, the few people who are already there are going to suffocate. You are going to kill them. Business are bleeding. You see, people are folding up. These are the situation on the ground. I told you we went to Harbour last time. Gapoa used to clear about 150 containers a day. You go there now, it's about 6, 5, 10 containers. Huge revenue decline. So what is happening? These are the things we should be looking forward to. So the chief executive was even crying, we are not Gov't, come on board, come and tell us what is the problem. I spoke, I said, you know the problem. Who is going to import at the rate of 51%? Who is going to import at the interest rate of 45%? Who is going to? People are not doing it. I have a friend who imported something from UK at the cost of £45,000. After selling, he got it about £42,000. He lost about £3,000. And said, I'm keeping my money in the bank. I'm not doing any business. And this man has kept his money in the bank. And this is a guy who is a huge importer. People depend on him. So just imagine the number of people who has gone out of business because of his action. But not fault of his. He said, for me to be losing such a man. And so if you are to call all businessmen here to tell you how much they've lost, I don't think your room here can contain them. Seriously. and they afford now. So these are some of the things. So President, we beg you, you are a man that you said you are going to move from taxation to production. Let's concentrate on production, because this policy will kill production rather than building production. So, Mr. President, we beg you, Gov't is pleading, halt it. Let's come to the round table discussion. Let's find other alternative ways of generating this revenue to help develop the country, rather than imposing these taxes on businesses.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time with us this
morning.
And
I want to tell Gov't members to celebrate this Easter in modesty. And as they are traveling to Kweo and other places, they should be modest in their celebration, so that they come back home safely.
I guess he doesn't want my Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry members to beat me.
Well,
so that they come back home safely to do business.
And enjoyable Easter, all members of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you. Happy Easter to both of you as well. Mr. Mark, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industries, and he's been here with Mr. Joseph Paddy, Public Relations Officer, Ghana Union of Traders Association, Gov't, talking about the passage of the 3 revenue bills which happened in Parliament on Friday. This has been our segment, and today we've talked taxes. The conversation will not end here. Connect with us via our social media handles, GTV Ghana. Happy birthday to you, Miss Angel Shea, Programs Manager at Angel TV. So we'll be back to do some more in the world of art and entertainment when Valerie takes the seat after this break.